primary reason for that is the, well, Nepal, to the context of Nepal, is that Nepal is not a credit rated country. Neither is our utility provider have a credit rating at the moment. So often what happens, and obviously in the past, let's say between 2006, 2000, in the 2000s, there was the Maoist insurgency. So a couple of these events have sort of led to the perception that Nepal is an unsafe place to invest or to place money, or for a long-term investment. There's a lot of political risk, there's a lot of financial risk, different types of risks are evaluated. At Mogha Energy, our initial goal, we're a company based out of New York, and we have a foreign direct investment in 3 projects currently in Nepal, and we're lining up a 4th project as well. So our initial goal was to basically, because my mother is Nepali, so I had an in-depth understanding of, or I would say not an in-depth, but a better understanding of what the actual risk was. So our primary target was to invest in Nepal with basically family, friends type of investment. And then to basically prove that Nepal was a country where an international company could come in, invest, make a return, and it was an attractive market for investment. And we said that we'll do it with our money first, and then the idea was to showcase that model to others so that they would also bring in investment to the region. So right now we have one project. It was our anniversary, 1-year anniversary last year. So a 30 megawatt project, Leakaway. It was commissioned on February 8th of 22. And we've generated like 99% energy as per our target. We have on-time payments from our utility, 45 days from every single bill. I mean, there is no issues on that at all. And I think these types of, the proof is in the pudding, right? So when you see a company's balance sheet, when you see they're generating electricity, they're getting paid for electricity, the electricity generation is as per their projection. I think these are the things that allow people to think of a climate as de-risked or less risk, let's say, right? So I think now the time is apt. There are many people who are working in Nepal. There are many private sector projects that have been commissioned, that have been operating for a certain amount of time, where now international investors can come in and see how are the projects that have been executed performing, how many projects have completed on time, what is the average completion time. A lot of the things which were up in the air maybe even 5 years ago, now there's a platform and data to actually analyze it. So what we need to do is we need to move away from this sort of cloud of risk and actually see what are the real risks and how to price that in accurately. And that's what we at Mogha Energy are actually looking to do in our next step. Once we have about 160 megawatts commissioned this year and connected to the grid, is to basically provide a platform for people to accurately assess risk. And basically what we think is that if they do accurately assess the risk, then Nepal is a very, very attractive investment opportunity for a lot of people to come in and make basically go green. And I think it's extremely, extremely critical at this juncture. As Mr. Pradhan had mentioned, for the greenhouse gas effect, I mean, at the moment, global warming is really affecting the Himalayas. The glacier lake outbursts are increasing because GLOF incidents are increasing. I think people have probably seen videos if they're in the space of entire dams being washed away due to GLOF. And all of these are an effect of global warming. The average temperatures are increasing, the glaciers are receding. I mean, we can go on and on. But Nepal is very uniquely poised. They have 100% green. There's nothing, there's no brown, there's no blue, there's nothing, it's only green. And it's unique because we can attract industries which are also green. So if an industry wants to make a t-shirt, but a green t-shirt, they can come to Nepal. If an industry wants to make a data center, but a green data center, they can come to Nepal. Because Nepal is the only country that can guarantee that the normal grid is 100% green. Everywhere else, they have to go out of their way to identify green energy, which is actually very difficult. I mean, if somebody wants to make a green hydrogen plant tomorrow, the most difficult aspect is not actually setting up the plant. It's where do I get 1,000 megawatts of green energy, 24/7, not during the day, not just a couple of hours in the day, but 24/7 green. Where do I get it? It's a very, very difficult challenge. I think in the Energy Week, the last couple of days, I think this has been discussed extensively. Is that how, if we want to actually make 100,000 or 150,000 megawatts of green hydrogen, how do we actually do it? How do we get 24/7 reliable green power? And I think Nepal can actually uniquely serve this purpose because there's potential for peaking reservoirs, there's potential for natural storage through hydro. I mean, various options for 24/7, green electricity, everything connected to the grid again is green. And actually Nepal is a very, very risk-free area. The people there are quite happy. I was just telling somebody this morning that the people in Nepal are actually more worried about their happiness as opposed to actually making money. You know, they do, it's very similar to Bhutan. You can evaluate it as a place where the gross happiness index, I would say, is the primary evaluator of life, and maybe the GDP would be a secondary evaluator. A lot of people would take less remuneration to be happier. A lot of people would actively go out of their way and sort of settle in the villages when they don't need to. There's a very large brain drain of resources from Nepal. So a lot of people don't need to live in villages. They can afford to live in cities. I mean, it's not an income thing, but they prefer that life. They feel they want to be remote. They want to have that relaxed style of life where they don't have to worry every day, where they can actually just be happy, just wake up, eat, maybe there's agriculture based, do that. If they're, you know, poultry based, go for that, or whatever their small industries are. If they're a fisherman, just go and fish, and then, you know, have a nice time with family. So because of that, actually, Nepal is a very, very, that's why tourists come there, and it's also another reason why the risk is less, because the people over there are not very commercial, but they're focused on happiness. And I think that this is unique to the Southeast Asia region. I think it's one of the only countries which has that, maybe apart from Bhutan, which adds again to actually de-risking it. Because technically the more commercial the country is, I think it comes with a higher risk. But yeah, that would be my 2 cents there.
That's great, thank you. I think it's a different perspective in terms of